Yes.
A very warm good evening to all of you. Welcome to the 168th session of Centa's webinar series for teachers. I hope all of you are keeping safe and staying healthy. The topic for today's webinar is feedback versus feed forward. Are you a window gazer or a mirror holder? And the facilitator for this session is Miss Ranjita Prajapati. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Before I hand over the session to ma'am, a brief introduction about our facilitator today. Miss Ranjita has been connected to the education world since 20 years. She started her career as a kindergarten teacher, then was promoted as a kindergarten coordinator, 2004 to 2020. In her free time, she writes poetry and is also the author of 4 books. To name them, My Poetry, My Feelings, Series 1 and 2, and Miss Sharpner, My Best Friend, and Roan's Wonder World. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am, to this Centa's Teachers webinar, ma'am. Before I hand over the session to our facilitator, Miss Ranjita Prajapati, I would like to inform all the teachers that they will be receiving participation certificates for the session. So please do fill out the feedback form that will be shared with you towards the end of the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, so a very wonderful evening to one and all present here. So I am Ranjita Prajapati, and I'm here today to talk about a very crucial topic, that is feedback versus feed forward. Now, before I move to that, I would like to thank Senta and Harsha ma'am for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, Senta. Thank you, Harsha ma'am. So, without a further delay, let's start. Now, see, today's topic is not a new topic. Yes. So, everybody is familiar with this topic. And rather, it's a very old topic. And since long, we have been experiencing this. Yes. We all know that feedback is very crucial for our growth, for our company's growth. Still, we avoid it. Still, we are not ready to face it. Why? What is the reason? Knowing the benefits, still we are not ready to face it. Why? Now, see, now if you see a carpenter, yes, they have their toolbox. If you see a dentist, they have their drills, and without their drills, without their tools, they cannot work. Yes, so without their aid they cannot work. The same way, the kind of work we are in, the kind of work we are doing needs a tool that improves our work and keeps us growing. Now, what is that? It's feedback. Yes, see how beneficial it is. And still we don't take it. Still we avoid it. Still we are not ready to face it. See, a research says only 26% of employees are ready to take feedback. What is the reason? Why are people not ready to take it, knowing the benefits? So today, we together will dig deep into the topic and try to find out the reason and the solution for this. Okay? Okay, so here, now I would like to share with you 2 situations. See, you are in a public gathering, in a good mood, and suddenly someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, you're looking pretty." So the moment you hear that part of the sentence, you are glad, you feel confident. Yes, you are energetic. Yes, and this creates that feel good factor in you. Do you all agree with me? So a small yes from your side will give me that, okay, we are on the same page. So see, yes, I am getting the response. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. So the moment You hear that first part and everybody is like very happy. Yes, the person is very happy listening to that. Once you listen to that positive comment, you are very happy. Now let me say that sentence once again. There's a twist. Okay, so hey, you're looking very beautiful, you're looking good, but you're, why are you, now the moment you hear that, the second part, but you're this, why are you, how do you feel? What happens? What happens? Your mind is, it's, your mood is off, and you are like, who is this guy, and why is this person giving me uninvited suggestion, who has even asked for, and your mood is off. Yes, has this ever happened with you all? Yes, yes, there are answers, and I can see the answers. So, and now I want to share another situation with you. So you are in a workplace, okay, and you are the event manager, and after the event everyone is like praising you, and everyone is coming up to you, praising you, talking about your event. Yes, and you are waiting for that just one word from your boss, okay, and your boss comes and says, please meet me in my office. Or your boss says, come, let's talk about today's program. Or, I want to share some suggestions regarding today's event. What happens to your mind? You were very happy, everyone was coming and praising you, and then was congratulating you, and the moment the boss enters, till that time you were very happy. The moment you hear this sentence, come, let's talk about today's event. So your mind, what happens? So what happens to when your boss calls you for a feedback? What happens to your mind? How your mind reacts? Your mind starts thinking. Thinking what? All negatives. Yes. And then you start preparing yourself with ready-made answers. Why? To defend yourself. Yes. So if my boss says this, I will be saying this. If my boss says that, I'll be saying this. So you want to be ready with ready-made answer. Why? To save your skin. Yes. Okay. So just a minute. So what you do, you start looking for points. Yes. Answers to counter your boss saying. Yes. Now, see, this is the image of brain. Okay. See, the fundamental principle of the brain is to minimize danger and maximize reward. Okay. Now, why is it designed in such a way? It is designed to keep us safe, safe from threat, stress. So when we feel threatened, stressed, what happens? We shut down, we freeze, and our mind stops thinking. And why does this happen? See, the moment the boss calls you, the mind encounters stress. Okay. And that's when emotional hijacking occurs. Okay. So when environment triggers a stress response, so this stress then hits the brain and makes the person defensive. Okay. Do you all agree with me? Yes. Thank you so much. I think Rupali ma'am is here. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. So that's the reason the person becomes defensive, and when the boss either gives suggestions or comments, okay, or calls. Okay. Now there is a part of the brain, you see it's colored in red there on the screen. That's amygdala. It scans all the messages. Okay. The moment it encounters the threat or any strong emotion, anger, fear, anxiety, so what it does is it impairs prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain in frontal lobe regulates rational thought. Now this term Amygdala hijack is coined by Daniel Goleman in his 1995 in his book Emotional Intelligence. So it refers to an intense emotional reaction that's out of proportion to the circumstances. Now, at times, your boss comments, or you comment, you give suggestions to the children, or you say something to the children, or your colleague say something to you. Yes, so or you when you give comments to the children in front of the other in front of their peers. So what happens is the receiver gets angry and at times yells back or reacts, or sometimes when you lose something, then also there is a kind of reaction there. Yes. So the research says that the amygdala, in combination with the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, plays an important role. So when you are stressed, afraid, the amygdala releases the hormones that prepares the mind and body to fight the threat or at times flee from the danger. Are you getting it? Okay, so see your boss. The boss is not a tiger. Yes, it's not a tiger chasing us, but still we prepare ourselves with ready-made answers. So what do we do? Either we argue, yes, fight back, give back answers to save our skin, or we try to avoid facing the boss. This is also there. Or what we do is at times we just freeze. But most of the time, what we do, we try to adjust. Yes, we try to adjust. So this is what happens when we face stress. Yes, do you all agree with this? So the fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Though we try a lot to not to use the first three, and most of the time we use the last one, the fourth one. So this is not very surprising. Rather, there is a reason behind. So when we receive feedback, the most important part of the brain responsible for functioning of the brain, which makes us creative, goes dark. Yes. And the reaction on the feedback is scared, stressed, shut down. Now, when does this happen? Especially this happens when the feedback is negative. The negative feedback triggers the mind, and then cholesterol spikes, and then you react. The receiver reacts. Yes. So why does this happen? Because the receiver is scared. The receiver is scared, defensive. Okay, is defensive, thus reacts back. Now, this fight, flight, freeze, or fawn is triggered by a release of hormones, prompting us either to stay and fight, or to flee, or to freeze, and most of the time to adjust. Yes. Okay, so from the situation, adjust. So now the fight response is the body's way of facing any perceived threat aggressively. Second, flight. Flight means the body urges you to run away from the danger. Freeze is your body's inability to move or act against threat. And what's the last one? Fawn is the body's stress response to try to please someone to avoid conflict. Yes. So I know that most of the time we are using the fourth one. Most of the time. And why do we do that? To that we try to adjust. We try to avoid the rest three. Yes. So the goal of these four is, what is the goal? Is to decrease, end, or evade danger and return to a calm, relaxed state. Okay. Now, this is the reason, knowing the importance of feedback, still we shut down. We don't welcome it. Why? Still, that question why is still there. Now, why do we do so? There is a reason. The way most of the time feedbacks are given are not brain friendly. People fall in, so because it's not structured. It's not structured. That's the reason. That's the reason. So people are not, so people fall in one of the two camps. Either what they do is they give too direct feedback, words are too rude, biased, most of the time judgmental, and too straight that it hits the brain and makes the receiver defensive. Yes? Yes, correct, correct. I can see the answer. Somebody has written fear factor. Yes. So, okay. Yes, Harveen ma'am. Yes, you are right. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. So, and on the other side, it's too soft either or indirect that the receiver is unable to understand the message. So the brain doesn't recognizes the message as the words are not clear. It's vague. Though it is very old practice, feedback. It's not new. It's very old practice. Still, this failed. The traditional method fails. Most of the time it fails. It fails. Now, so let's see. Let me move to the next slide. So this is what is traditional way of giving feedback. Let's go through this. I'm just rest everything I have already discussed. I'm just reading it out. Okay. So giving advice or instruction, telling employees no when they are unsuccessful at a task, showing superiority over employee. At times we do that in the class also with children. I hope not knowingly, unknowingly giving. And even when we get the feedback, that's also not knowingly. No, nobody does it, but then unknowingly this happens. Yes. Giving unfamiliar tasks, telling them bluntly what they should not do, making the receiver feel they have no choice, not creating that connection, that trust. That's very, very important. Not showing care and empathy, not helping the receiver feel that they are valuable, at time treating employees differently. So it's not only about employees, it's we are I'm taking doing it, discussing about the children also. Okay, so not being transparent at times, too much of uncertainty in delivery. Yes, I hope everybody is aware of this, and this is what is traditional feedback, the way we give feedback. Now let me move to the next slide. Why this traditional feedback failed? What went wrong? What went wrong? First point. So when we give feedback to an employee or a student or our co-workers or our colleagues, or when we get feedbacks from admins, so when our admins give us the feedback, so the focus is always on the past, what's already gone, done. Okay, so the result is this shuts down our mental dashboard. Now what is that? So when we get the feedback about something we can't change or control, what happens? The parts that are responsible for executive function, for creativity, the part that allows us to sort or set our agendas, shuts down, and we are in a state of mental paralysis. Yes, this is one thing. Second is, this feedback, it focuses on ratings rather than development. What is that? So most of the time you see the feedbacks, most of the feedbacks is time and energy. So the time and energy we spend on looking back. So most of the time what we do is we talk about the one which is already done, the activity which is already past, it's already over. Now we spend time on looking back, rating the performance. What do we do there? No, this went wrong. this is what was wrong there. This you did not do it properly. Why did you not take care of that? That's what. So if the thing is already done, we cannot do anything up with that. Okay. So so what we do is, and we put the energy in something which is already over. We start rating the performance what is already done. Third reason, it reinforces negative behaviors. Now, when we hear about flaws, about what we can't fix anymore, because it's already gone, that we cannot change, it creates the feeling of helplessness. Okay, it creates that feeling. The receiver, when gets the feedback, somewhere the receiver also understands, yes, this mistake has, unknowingly it has happened, but then now what to do? It's already done. So the receiver feels helpless, and the feeling that we are unable to, what is that feeling? The feeling that we are unable to do anything about the, so the thing which is already over. So instead of committing ourselves to improvement, so we hold on to who we are, instead of focusing on who we are becoming. Yes, so the feeling that we are unable to do anything about our future. Now, here, let me move to the next slide. No. So this is the reason traditional feedback, this one, traditional, I have again brought you back to the same slide. So this is the reason traditional feedback has failed. So the messages, the kind of messages the bosses, the kind of message they want to pass, they want to convey. So what used to happen is that, so when they used to give the feedback, somewhere they felt that what message we are trying to pass is somewhere the receiver is not getting it or not understanding it, because there was no improvement. Okay, so in order to solve this, so everybody was worried. Now, in order to solve this, what the expert did, they invented a new technique. Now, what is that new technique? Sandwich technique. So it's the sandwich technique. You all know about sandwich technique, and we are using, even I am using, everybody is using this technique in the class also. Top slice of toast, then meat, and then again a slice of toast. Yes. So now, see, if we compare the two, so if we compare the two groups, there are few who enjoy receiving criticism, who enjoy getting feedback. On the contrary, there is a big chunk of people are often, they get demotivated hearing criticism. So now, see, when the bosses they saw this, so then they switched into this technique, that is sandwich technique. Okay, now the bosses started using this technique. They touted the sandwich technique to tackle the challenging conversations. It is challenging. Giving a feedback is not an easy task. Yes. So the bosses or the teachers started this. They flanked the criticism between two comments of praise. The sandwich filler is the criticism. So they thought, now everybody, because the either the company has asked them to follow this technique, or they themselves feel that this technique will work. So they started using this technique, and so they thought that if they follow this technique, this will ease their job, and also prepare the receiver to receive negative feedback or suggestions. Or so they, somewhere, if they top it with a toast, so then maybe the receiver will be in that mode to take the suggestion or to take the negative feedback. So now this, so they felt that this will ease their job. Okay, and prepare the receiver to receive negative feedback, and the conversation will be more pleasant. The bosses started offering negative feedback sandwiched between two positive ones. Okay, so they opened with what we do. We open it with the positive comment, followed by the main message, and then the final positive message. So the bosses, now everybody was very happy. The bosses was very happy. They were very happy, glad. Even I was very happy when I was using it. And even you agree with this also, that in the class when we do, we are very happy that, okay, now we have covered it from top and from the bottom. So now the message is reaching to the receiver. Okay. So the bosses started offering negative feedback sandwiched between two positive ones, and what they used to do, what we do as a teacher or as a boss, we give feedback with a positive comment, followed by main message and then some positive message. And we are very happy, bosses are very happy, everyone is happy that the new technique will prepare the employees or the students or the receiver to take the suggestion, and they will work on their gray areas. Now after certain time, what everybody realized is that this technique also failed, so they were not getting the result. Again on the same question, why? So few researchers now tried to research on the same. Okay, so they found that the leaders, now what they researched and what did they found? They found that leaders assume that this sandwich technique will prepare the receiver to take the feedback. Let's see the reason why this technique failed. Chocolate is already used, top and at the bottom. Still it failed. Why? There is a reason. There is just a minute. Okay, yes, let me be here. So there is a reason that the praise is, now there are two reasons. One is praise is substantial and obscures the criticism. What does that mean? See, when you layer your feedback with heavy layer of praise, and then what happens, somewhere it distracts the receiver, as the brain enjoys listening good words and it takes what it likes, and the rest is drained into the drain. Yes. Oh yes, people focus on sweet part. Yes, you are right. Yes, Ganga ma'am, you are right. Yes. So that is the reason. So the brain is the brain is in habit of taking good things. Yes. So, and this is one reason why the sandwich technique failed. So when you layering it with heavy chocolate also spoils the cake. Yes. So if you talk about that cake is what's that name? That chocolate cake, I'm not remembering the name. So that is also somewhere when you eat, you don't like to eat it. No, after a bite, you just feel like, okay, I don't need it. I don't like it. That kind of feeling arises. Yes. So, and the clear message is not passed. The receiver gets confused. So the heavy layer of chocolate, what happens? The main message somewhere is lost. It is not transferred to the receiver. The receiver doesn't get it. That's the reason this technique failed, sandwich technique. Second reason is praise is trivial and just for the sake and serves no function. Now, this is also one reason. Sometimes what happens is we as teachers or the boss or our admins is so into judgment mode that they only use this technique just for the sake of doing. Okay, because the organization has asked me to use this sandwich technique, now let me use that, but I have my own point which I want to convey to the receiver. Okay, so for the sake of sandwiching their criticism, the heads, the bosses, the teachers, I'm including myself, okay, offer unrelated, often trivial praises. Okay, such praise is inconsequential and therefore defeats the purpose of the sandwich technique. So when we layer the criticism with praise, and which is not very genuine, not real, that also somewhere that also somewhere the your whole message is lost. You are unable to convey what you want to. So when your message is not reached to the second party, how will you get the result? How will you get the result? So a praise followed by criticism undermines the positive impact of praise and weakens the corrective feedback significance. As teachers, we are in habit of giving feedback, and we are in habit of giving feedback all the time. We tell students what to do, what not to do. Yes, how can they improve on this, on that. So we also give feedback to our colleagues, and we receive plenty of feedbacks also from our bosses, from our peers, from our co-workers. So, and from parents. Yes, and at times, unknowingly, we joke. Do you all agree? And something is hidden in that joke also. Yes. So, here, okay, so there is, I think, Vatsal sir, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So people at times get defensive, and because of this, the improvement we expect don't happen. Now, so management expert Marshall Goldsmith developed a new concept named feed forward. Okay, because the message which the bosses, which the teachers, they were trying to pass was not reaching to the second party. Now again everyone was worried, so this expert Marshall Goldsmith, he developed a new concept, that is feed forward. Now what is that? Ignite, involve, inspire. So when we give feedback to anyone, we get feedback, or we get feedback from our bosses. So where is the focus? The focus is always on the past. It's always on the past. Do you have any control on the past? What is gone is gone. Now you can't change it. You have no control. So what is already done, what is already past, what you cannot change, what is already done. So if a work is already done, then giving a feedback for the same, what do you think? Has meaning or not? What do you think? Does this make sense? What is already done, and then we are giving feedback for that thing, that task. How is it going to help? Yes, definitely. Jotting down the once the event is over, it's important to note down the points, note down the gray areas. That's important, because so that you don't make mistakes in the next event. But then sitting and discussing about this or rating that is what makes the receiver defensive. It's not about suggestion. It's that makes the person defensive when we start judging the person. Okay. See, nobody wants to, when a task is given, everyone tries to do it to the T. Yes. But when something goes wrong, so here I would like to suggest as a teacher that if just I'm leaving it on you all. So what if we give chance to the person who was handling that particular task to judge their work? It's not about rating, and that judgment word I haven't used it for rating. To write down, jot down the points, where did they go wrong. Now why I'm asking you all to do, just try this. There's a reason behind. See, if you give that task to the person who is handling that program, or who is doing that task, so the person will understand where did they go wrong. Yes, Jasprit ma'am, feedback can be given at the ongoing stage also. Okay, Jasprit ma'am says feedback can be given at the ongoing work on. Yes. Okay, so this is, see, you, now the main reason is the structure. The main reason is the structure. When we give the feedback, we failed. Why? Because we don't follow the proper structure. We judge, or there we unknowingly some get into that judgment mode. Okay, so now the feedback, if we and again coming back to feed forward now. So what if we give the person the chance to write, jot down, to write about what went wrong and where did they by unknowingly they this one mistake happened. So there somewhere the person, the listener also, the receiver also is understanding, okay, the person is not judging me, not rating me, is giving me chance to assess, think, where did I go wrong, what went wrong. Yes. Okay, so this new concept, feed forward. So and then see, let me come back here. See, no matter how many layers of chocolate you put, the receiver's mind. Now, what? Why did it fail? The sandwich technique also, because see, no matter how many layers of chocolate you put, the receiver's mind is just fixed, not ready to take. So, what is the use of working on the thing which is already done? Yes, definitely. As I said, take down the points so that it is not repeated again. But when the work is over, then giving feedback has no meaning. So, this is a new concept, feed forward, designed keeping in mind the future progress, a way of flipping its focus from the past to the future. So, feedback, the word itself says feeding something which will help you move forward. See, the future project prepares you in, so this prepares you in advance for future projects. As far as my experience says, I'm telling you, a lot many corporate worlds, educational institutions, they have already started this technique. They are using it, and even I have started. I'm telling you, I was giving the feedback and I have used that sandwich technique also. Now I have flipped to this feed forward, and what I see, it's I can see that what message I want to convey is reaching to the receiver. Okay, so it's a kind of prepare, it's kind of preparing you for the coming projects. Feedback prepares you. Okay, instead of crying for the past, this gives an opportunity to work for future. Now this is why feedback concept failed. So back feedback was backward looking feedback, doesn't often get good results. So when we give feedback, feed forward, instead of rating, judging a person's performance in the past, so we focus on their development in the future. Okay, now this is why this feed forward started. So what do you do once the program is over? Now usually what we do is, once the program is over, we sit with the event manager or the teacher or the children, and then we discuss about what went wrong and all. Okay, so now I have already got the answer. I have already, people are I can see the chat, people are responding, and we all are on the same page. So your suggestion now, so don't, this is what yes, as I said, don't you feel that this will work faster? What do you think, everybody? Feed forward will work faster and will give a better result, and it also prepares the receiver to take the suggestion. This is very important. See, you want to say something, you want to suggest, you have many things to suggest, but if the receiver is not ready to take it, then what's the use? What's the use? So that is very important, that your receiver should be ready to take that. Then only you can see the improvement. Yes. So now, so if the mind says, now your suggestion will only work when your receiver accepts it with full mind, full heart. And if the mind says no for the suggestion, then there's no point in giving suggestions. It will all go in vain. Yes. So with feed forward approach, the receiver becomes active listeners. Okay, so they are encouraged to take comments and take heed, and thus achieve better outcomes. Okay, so now here I want to, yes. So what are the attributes of feed forward? It regenerates talent. Yes. So this feedback helps people see the opportunities for growth. It makes the receiver feel that it is just a suggestion that will help the receiver grow. Yes. Second, it expands possibilities. So it expands possibilities so it somewhere gives the area. It expands the possibility rather than on simply identifying the problems, simply seeing the problems. It gives the area to expand, to grow. Again, the same thing. Okay, so this is the first and foremost. And instead of negative, using negative language, if this makes the person feel that okay, this is something positive, so the brain also accepts. Next, the third point is, it is it is particular. It is about picking your battlegrounds strategically and selectively. So, Marshall advises us to make feedback an ongoing process and embed it in our day to day work. Yes? Rather than waiting until the assignment is done and then I'm going to judge it, I'm going to rate it. Okay, next. It is authentic. No one likes criticism. Yes, nobody likes. Even I don't like. Children don't like. So we are good at seeing pitfalls. This is this is somewhere everybody's habit. Okay, so we are good in seeing pitfalls in other people. Yes, so our intention is definitely not to crush them, not to hurt anyone. So what we do, we use sandwich technique. The result, we slip the main piece. So be authentic, but not rude. Yes, be authentic. What you want to say, say. But follow the strategy, follow the structure. Yes, and be authentic but not rude. Be direct, but the choice of words should be taken care of. Very, very important. Choice of words makes the person defensive. Next is, it has impact. Now when we combine the feedback with a little with coaching, the transfer skyrockets to 95%. Yes. Example, see, if a student regularly forgets to bring materials in the class, okay, and rather than simply telling him to change, help him make a specific plan for improvement. So the plan should have small steps, okay, to make it achievable so that the child achieves it and feels somewhere that and the confidence is also raises. Last is, it refines group dynamics. Now here, this is something which even I really like it. Rather than giving feedback in top to down hierarchical model, instead of just having our department head observe us, why not get feedback from someone who is completely from a different background, or someone who teaches a different subject? We can try it. This is just a suggestion. We can try it. Okay, now let's move to the next slide. Thank you so much, everybody. I like the way everybody is responding, answering. That is somewhere giving me energy. I'm very thankful to everybody. So this is just a quick review. I've already discussed everything with, I'm just reading it out. So a quick review of feedback and feed forward. So feedback focuses on future oriented solutions. Feed forward, feed forward focuses on future oriented solutions. Feedback focuses on past events and performance. Second, corrective action is taken before disturbances affect the output. And in feedback, action is taken once the activity is done. Feed forward expands possibilities. Feedback points out problems and hinders the progressive mind. The grow it somewhere, it's like an obstacle. It works somewhere. It hinders the progressive mindset. Yes. Okay, and then it creates healthy environment. Feed forward. Feedback, it reinforces negative behavior. That is what? Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Then feed forward has an impact. Feedback don't always offer a plan or action. And feed forward, this works faster and is efficient because it somewhere prepares the receiver to take it. So you will definitely get the result. And this is time consuming feedback and less effective. I hope everybody is, yes, everyone is on the same page. Very nice. Thank you, Sunita ma'am. Thank you so much. Now, let's move to the, yes. So, feed forward is now used these days as it helps create a better workplace by aiding individuals in moving beyond the visible barriers. Feed forward focuses on future oriented solutions. It focuses on person's future development rather than critiquing and judging their past. Example, when someone comes up for the advice, focusing on suggesting something, yes, rather than commenting on their behaviors. Okay, now, so see, feed forward is centered on now and future. It places the employee's talents, careers, possibilities at the forefront. It carries the conversation on the topic of the future. Okay, so now here there are so the aim is coach, don't criticize, describe, don't prescribe, become a learn it all, fill up people's bucket. See, it's coaching is about using positive emotions to promote learning experiences. Feed forward aids individuals in seeing opportunities for advancement, ways in which they could take on a new task. Yes, what it does is raises the other person's confidence and creates interest, and the receiver is ready to listen. So when we are giving suggestions, so one very essential point, the giver, the person who is giving the feedback should keep in mind is yes and. Do you all agree with this? Yes, and see, I'm giving you an example. There's an event, and for that, you need new ideas. Now, what if you give everyone a say card and where everyone writes their ideas, suggestions, or say their ideas, suggestions, and then this way they get the opportunity to say their word, and everyone gets the opportunity to say, put their points. So so when they are giving the suggestion, instead of using the word yes, but, I would suggest to use the word yes, and. So what are you doing that way? You are creating that feeling. Yes, this is my job. You are bringing, so you are making them account. So somewhere you are making them feel that this is their job. You're creating that interest in them. Okay, so it's my baby. So everyone gets time and space to think, and this way everyone's voice is heard. Now collect the card, swap it, and distribute. Follow the rule. No guessing, no judgment. Okay, so you need to just accept all ideas, make the other person feel good, be thankful. See, one mind cannot do everything. You need suggestions, and then reach for yes instead of a flat no. Yes, so yes and breathes new life into the employees or the children, new purpose. So you win the, so once you do that, yes, and you have already won the half way. So that's the that way you win the half race. Okay, so the moment you give them the chance to say, your half work is already done. So if we want feedback to be effective, we need to shift our mindset. Describe, don't prescribe, and become a learn it all. See, understand that there is always something new to learn. So when you take the suggestions from the colleagues or from children, from anyone, so somewhere you are also learning it. No, there is, every day we are learning. Nobody is perfect, no one is perfect. Now then, fill up people's bucket. What does that mean? See, when you show someone, when you show love to someone, when you smile, make something feel special, valued, that is being a bucket filler. So when you are giving feed, for when you're suggesting something, or when you are taking the suggestions, then a smile has to be there. There has to be a way when you are talking to the people. Yes. So I would now like to end up with only one saying, only one sentence, one word. Try to shift to feed forward approach, as it can help the receiver from seeing who we are to who we are becoming. That's important. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. So I'm very glad, and I'm thankful to Senta and Harsha ma'am and everyone, those who have joined this session, for continuous this one messages on the feedback I was getting. So for continuous response, I'm very thankful to everyone. Thank you so much.
Uh, Ranjita ma'am, there are few questions asked by the teachers.
Okay.
One of the teachers is asking, is it good to always praise and not give negative feedback?
Now here, I never said. What did I say? Be authentic. I did not say always praise. That is what I said. Too much of chocolate will also spoil the cake. So what I suggested is be authentic. See, children also understand. They understand what are the way we give the feedback. They understand how are we giving and what we want to convey. So our giving, see, we need to follow that proper structure. Now, instead of commenting on what is done, ma'am, if you just, I'm sharing it with you. If you agree, just say yes. If not, just say no. But then judgment is what makes the receiver defensive. Judgment. And then it's not about praising all the time. It's being about authentic, to the point, not being rude when you're giving the suggestion. Yes. So somewhere that empathy should be there. Yes, we have to give the suggestion, we have to be authentic, we have to be straight, but then that empathy also has to be added there. It should not, our comment should not be rude, so that we don't want to hurt anyone. I hope you agree with me, ma'am.
Thank you for the reply, ma'am. I think Divya Arvind ma'am was asking, like, she had asked what is the difference between feedback and feed forward exactly. She wanted in a word. So
In a
Sunanda
word.
ma'am, yeah, in a word or in a sentence. So
Okay, so
Sunanda ma'am has answered it as feedback means talking about past actions. Feed forward means focusing on future oriented solutions.
right, and she's right. This is what is the difference. What is all, that is what I said, that see, once the event is over, sitting down, jotting down the points, where it went wrong, what went wrong, how can I now improve for the next event, that's important. But just discussing and rating that, so feedback is what, it only talks about what is already gone, and feed forward is what it is about future progress. I hope I have cleared the questions, and Harsha ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I think we need to wait for a minute or two for more questions, ma'am.
So there is Harsha ma'am.
Ma'am, yeah, one more question is there by Kavita, ma'am. Can you give one example for both in any situation?
Yes, feedbacks. I have already shared in my conversation also that there is an incident. You have got a program. You are the event manager, and then once the program is over, have been called in the office. Now, how do we start the conversation? If you think in reality at what is the way we discuss the feedback, frank, we need to be very true to ourselves. Yes, so how do we do that? Or suppose we are talking to the children, why did you do that? Why did you make this mistake? What happened? Why didn't you get that? So always there is why without pausing also. So after that why, we need to pause to give the other person, the second party, chance to speak. This is one example. Second example is feed forward. Now, suppose in most of the time, what happens? See, you are the event manager and you have to do this, you have to do this, okay? And then we call people in groups and then we discuss everything because yes, I understand lack of time also. But when we are giving the duty to a person, so how are you going to do that? Can you just give me the idea, a rough idea? Let's talk about that. Okay. And then when you are there only, okay, so if you're doing this, I would suggest you to go this way. Just see this. Okay. And then I would suggest, so there only, if you suggest in the beginning only what you want, and it's not about what you want. Somewhere you suggest what your ideas to the person. The person is that time, the receiver is in that kind of state of mind, will take that, because the receiver also wants to do the activity to the T. Yes, wants to be the best. So there the person, the receiver will take it with a positive mind, and there your suggestion will also work, rather than once the program is over, see what you have done, ma'am, and why was this chair here, and why you did not do that, why you did not add this sentences and all. Now here what happens is we are judging, we are rating. That makes the person defensive. That's the reason the person is not ready to take feedback. Do you agree with me, Kavita ma'am?
I think it is an excellent reply to many of the teachers, ma'am, because same thing they had asked in between also many more teachers.
Okay.
Ma'am, if you could share the books, ma'am.
Okay. So just a minute, ma'am. Just a minute.
Ma'am, one more question, ma'am, by
Yes.
Vatsa, ma'am. Suppose
Yes.
one kid is very bright but has lack of attention. How can we help him or her with feed forward?
Very bright child. Ma'am, the question is not clear to
Yes,
me.
ma'am.
Can you please repeat? So the child is very
Suppose
bright.
one kid, yeah, yeah, but
Hmm.
has lack of attention. How can we
Hmm.
help him or her with feed forward technique?
Okay. Okay. So here again, one more example I gave in between also. So here the attention problem is there. Now that what we can do is with the children, the child who has this attention problem, there we can sit with the child, make the child sit separately, not talking about that's there. Sometimes what happens, the when we see that attention problem, we comment in front of the peers. Yes, that's when the children, they become defensive, they don't take it. So what we can do is we can make the child sit, take some bubble time with the child, sit with the child in a separate place, talk about the now there, let us first find out the reason. Let us first find out the reason why instead of telling that, okay, now so how did you understand that the child has the attention problem? The child is bright, maybe somewhere the child is not getting good marks, or some reason the teacher must have assessed. So sharing that thing with a child and making the child realize that what is going wrong, what do you think, where are you going wrong, because are we I as teacher know that you are a bright child and you can do better, you have that capability, but then where is it going wrong, and bringing that point from the child and then suggesting him will help the child. I hope I have
Thank you
tried
for the
to.
reply, ma'am. Again, one more question from one of the teachers, ma'am. I have a child who has attention deficit. How do I
Mhm.
help this child with feed forward?
This is what the same question it is, Harsha ma'am. Just now the same attention problem was there.
Okay, fine, ma'am. I think the answer has the question has been answered by you, ma'am. Uh, yes, ma'am. I think as of now there are no questions.
So Harsha ma'am, shall I show you the this one, the books and all, the pictures?
Yeah. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just give me a minute, please. One is this, My Poetry, My Feelings. This is series one. Is it visible, Harsha ma'am?
No, ma'am, it is not.
It is not. Okay. Okay.
You need to
Just
share
a minute.
that this thing, ma'am.
Yes, I'm doing it. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes, ma'am.
now is it visible? So this is My Poetry, My
Yes,
Feelings,
ma'am. It
series
is.
one. Series one. Now the second one I wanted to show. The second one is series 2. So this my book is mainly about it carries motivational poems, plus there are other kind of poems also. It's all in English only. And my main that's my strength, I'll call it, that it's all I've tried to personified everything, because to connect with that particular topic, that theme, I love to personify things. That's the reason I. So if you read my books, my poetries, I hope everybody will like it. It's my poetry, my feelings. So everyone will be able to connect to the situations, the kind of themes what I have taken in these books. Then also there's one another book is the this is for kids only, my Miss Sharpener, My Best Friend. Now this book is, I would suggest everyone, I would recommend everyone to buy this book, because at the back you will see a kind of, see, when we discuss stories and all, what is what are we trying to do, that, or is it just a story, or or something we are teaching through this, that is important. So if you see this book, you will see the at the last page, what kind of, how will you connect the children to the story, what kind of questions should be raised while we are discussing the stories and all. And then so this somewhere will connect the children with the story, because see how the, what are the characters. So you, when you want a child to relate it or connect with the story, the child should know, you should, so the child should, there are the questions raised in a way that the child knows the character, that somewhere you're telling the child how to make stories also. This is also there. So the kind of question is raised that the child understand, okay, how many characters are there, okay, so what is the beginning and what is the end, so how, so what is the solution. Somewhere you, with stories, what we do, we try to, we somewhere make them understand, okay, when you are stuck in this kind of situation, what will you do. So this is also there in this book. So I would recommend everyone to buy this book and see. I would be glad, and I am sure that you will like this book. Harsha ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I think right now we are running out of time, and
Yes.
thank you, Ranjita ma'am, for a very engaging session for our community of teachers. I am sure that our teachers have got a lot of takeaways from this session. Thank you so much, all the participants, for engaging with us today. To register for more such upcoming webinars, please visit my center. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Harsha ma'am.